Thank you. Thank you so much, Vance. Oh, namaste and greetings, CSL Midtown family. What going on? How everybody doing in the midst of all this heat? So yes, I am extremely grateful to be with you all once again, and I pray that you are all well and know how amazing you are. Breathe. Today we are discussing this idea, as Maya said, yeah, we're talking about the wisdom to be learned from sharks. While it might seem strange, we're actually being invited to the awareness that any expression of God offers greater wisdom to the expression that God is as us. Breathe that in. No matter where God is showing up, what God is showing up as, because it is a oneness, when we peer into and see, it gives us greater awareness about who and what we are. This is exactly why Pythagoras said, know thyself, and then you shalt know all of the universe and God. Because there's no separation. It's all the same thing. So with that, however, there are times we bump up against some obstacles, right? We bump up against the ideas that say, but am I? Right? Like there are roadblocks, or there are boulders in the street, or there are concepts that block us from being able to proceed in our lives. So pause and ask yourself for a second. In my life, obstacles. When I say obstacles for me, what does that mean? What do they look like? How are they showing up? Pause. Breathe. Still with me? Because this is an area where we don't often like to move beyond this, right? Like we get stuck, but we're being invited to outgrow the limits, outgrow the obstacles that have become comfortable. They don't protect us. So how do we unlearn the stories that keep us from being who and what we truly are? How do we consciously create and embody the most authentic and empowered you that you can? Me, how do I do that for me? How do we do this individually and collectively? Because if we don't, then we're going to forever go through our lives based upon what somebody else says about us, what somebody else thinks about us, what somebody else, right? So what we going to do, people? What are we going to do? So if I were to ask you, what do your friends think you do? What do your friends, if we were to sit down with any of your friends and ask them about you, what would your friends say? What about a parent? What about a sibling? What about an employer? What about anyone in culture and society? See, there are different people who don't really understand, and so they project. They make up a story about who and what we are. So this week, taking the point that Dr. Holmes gave us, or teaches, you should celebrate your unique existence, no matter what others think. Breathe that in. Because there are going to always be people who think something about you. And there's the idea of what you think about you. And oftentimes, even that idea isn't accurate. So, what? Exactly. See, oftentimes, in many ways, we even misunderstand ourselves. We misunderstand who God is, what God is, and what that means. We misunderstand. Now, what are some of the reasons that or some of the causes that someone may be misunderstood or misunderstand someone else? Because until we explore the various perceptions held by us about us, held by us about others, by others about us, blah, 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 and how some of these perceptions cause and perpetuate misunderstandings of ourselves and others. Until we do this, there is no way we are going to steward the most life-affirming, the most authentic and truest version of ourselves as divine incarnations of God. It's not going to be possible. Breathe. Now, in the grand scope of the world, I'm sure if you've been anywhere in politics and society with stuff that's going on, social media, etc., you're familiar with the terms misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. I'm sure you're familiar with these terms. And if you're not, I invite you to either come back and look at the graphic or send me an email or send Vance an email and ask for this slide. Because if we're not able to discern, how do we know? How do we know if I'm engaging in misinformation about who I am as a divine being? How do I know if I'm engaging in disinformation regarding Vance and him as a divine being? How do I know if I'm engaging in malinformation regarding Maya and her as a divine being? How do I know if I can't discern and decipher the differences? How do I know that I'm making apple pie if I can't determine the difference between an apple and an orange? I told Vance I'm making apple pie, and I give it to him, and he takes a slice, and he's like, why does it taste like oranges? Oh, those aren't apples? You weren't sure? I mean, I thought I did. No, I just went to the store and bought some fruit. I thought it was all the same thing. Information is information, right? I mean, it's all God, so it's all good. So, no, not all mushrooms are created equal. Come on, not all berries are created equal. Not all snakes are created equal. You follow me, right? So part of this embodiment of the divine is really getting to a space and an awareness where we understand. Miguel Ruiz says, if others tell us something, we make assumptions. If they don't tell us something, we make assumptions. And we make these assumptions to fulfill our need to know and to replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means, and then we believe the assumptions. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't take the time nor have the courage to ask questions. Ask questions. See, because in the grand scheme of things, as Maya said, not only is it Shark Week, and not only are we celebrating, Hollywood or whoever, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Jaws, when you think about it, sharks get a bad rap, right? Going back to the idea of misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. Okay, so when you think of a shark, when you see a shark, what do you see? Do you adequately, effectively see it is a divine expression of God? Or do you see, oh my goodness, it's a sea monster, get out of the pool? You said get out of the pool? There better not be a shark in the pool. But the concept is we're terrified of them. And scientists, marine biologists will tell us that due to Jaws, the film, and other subsequent representations of the shark, they get a bad rap. We create them as the enemy, as the villain. So in terms of that, let's swap it and flip it. Instead of the shark gets a bad rap, who gives you a bad rap? And in what way do they give you a bad rap? I don't remember what cartoon it is, but they drew 3 different sharks, and they drew them as these vicious, mean, conniving, kinds of creatures. And sharks really aren't that. And oftentimes, the bad rap we give to others, it's not what we make it out to be either. And yet, why do we do it? For example, it's easy for me as a Black man to vilify the Klan and make them out to be sharks. I give them a bad rap. They're like, oh, they're the enemy. And yes, because of their behavior, it is not life affirming. It does not support my life. And I have no intention on becoming an ornament for anybody's Christmas tree or oak tree. So no. And yet, as someone who practices and embodies this teaching, I am invited to see through the Martha Stewart sheets that they wear. See through the behavior to the heart and to the consciousness and recognize them as God in order to assist in whatever way them to heal their consciousness, to then move into the next era of what it means to be a world that works for all. So, as I say, either we judge righteously or unrighteously, meaning it is either life affirming or non-life affirming. Racism, homomisia, transmisia, xenomisia, sexism, ableism, fatmisia are all the result of unrighteous judgments caused by a level of hatred, fear, and ignorance. Oh my. So if we are going to create a world that works for all, we must learn to practice righteous judgment. Righteous judgment being see with and as the eyes of God, recognizing itself, and then respond accordingly. And we have to do this as often as we can. Breathe. Now, I know some folks don't like the word judgment, whether I use it with righteous or not. They're like, we are not supposed to judge. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. However, when a physician looks at any of these images, whether it is a broken bone, whether it is a blocked artery, whether it is a brain scan, whether it is a blockage in the heart, doesn't matter, makes no difference. When a physician looks at an x-ray with a patient, they're sitting there and they're examining it, and they're like, okay, and the doctor's pointing out, so this is the part of the leg, or this is part of the ankle, this is what's going on in your body. Are they judging it? Or are they stating a fact that this part of your body is demonstrating this occurrence? And if the doctor is a capable and skilled doctor, then what they are showing is a righteous judgment, because they're not going to just say, oh man, Susan, looks like the x-ray said your femur in your ankle and your metatarsals, they broke up, honey. They all smashed up. Oh, I don't know how you're going to get around. Go on out. Your appointment's done. The doctors don't do that. They're like, okay, this is what the x-ray shows. This is what the scan shows. Now, my plan of action to help you regain stability and balance and strength and is this. That's righteous judgment, because they are seeing not the problem, they're addressing the problem, but they're already solution focused. They're already in the realm of the amen for the person's body. Are we already in the amen of a world that works for all? You are all that you are as an expression of that divine feeling, fire, inspiration, passion, imagination, and creativity, that it may be expressed through you in life-affirming ways based on your choosing. The spirit which is you, not just in you, it is you, comes to you as easily as you come to you. You aren't in you, you are you. God is not in you, God is you. You are it. So it comes to you with this new and fresh creativity, once again, as you choose, as you allow it to, because it's already there. You do not need to ask what others have done. It doesn't matter what Dr. Holmes did, doesn't matter what Ray Anderson did, doesn't matter what anyone did or how they did it. if you're trying to be like them or copy them. Be yourself and express life as only you can. Breathe. See, oftentimes we think about the people that came before us and we make the mistake of trying to be like them. You know, remember the slogan, be like Mike? As Matsu Basho said, do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise. Seek what they sought. Do not try to follow in the footsteps of Ernest Holmes. Seek what he sought. Do not try to follow in the footsteps of Emma Curtis Hopkins. Seek what she sought. Do not try to be the next Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but seek liberation as he sought it. If you follow someone else's way, you are not going to realize your potential. Did you all see, there's a movie, you may be familiar with, it's called The Wizard of Oz. You familiar with that movie, The Wizard of Oz? You familiar with that? You ain't? Oh, you are, okay. So imagine for a second, Dorothy, you know, she lands in Oz and the Munchkins are like, we represent it, and the Lollipop Guild, and they singing, right? And Dorothy is like, oh my, I think I'm going to stay here. NTMN and Uncle, they'll be fine. And so she moves into a cottage. Wait a minute, what happened to the rest of the story? Because she never would have met the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and she would have never met them because she's comfortable. She decided, I'm going to join the Lollipop Guild. We would have never got to the click your heels together 3 times and say there's no place like home. We would have never got there because she chose complacency rather than her own path. Dr. Holmes says, the wick of your individual life runs deep into the oil of your pure being. There is but one life, and that life is your life now. No matter what confusion appears at the surface of your life, at the surface of your country, at the surface of your state, at the surface of the planet Earth, there is always a place of calm at the center of your being. No matter how turbulent the waves may be on the ocean of your experience, beneath, there is a changeless peace. Your being is submerged, but not lost in the infinite. See, we have access to everything we could ever want. World peace, we got it. A world that works, we got it. Food for, we got it. Homes for, we got it. We got it. It's an infinite universe, all that God is. There is nothing missing in it. We can, if somebody a long time ago could be like, I'm gonna make a phone that look like, and it's gonna be like a little computer. What's a computer? Don't worry about it. You'll find out in 15, 20 years when they make the computer, and then I'm gonna make a phone, and we're gonna call it a smartphone, which is actually gonna be a computer in your pocket. What's a computer? I told you, wait till they invent it. And then somebody had the idea, because it's infinite creativity, they and made it. Now we use them and we don't even think about it as how this is a divine demonstration of God and the amen that creates. We have access right here and right now. I hold clarity as a key intention. I aim for specificity of language, action, communication, desire, intention, and commitment. Because the clearer I can be in all of these, the less likely I am to contribute to any non-life affirming chaos. The clearer we are with who and what we are, the clearer we are able to show up in the world. So ask yourself, who's directing and producing and starring in your life? Who is this? Is it you? Is it someone else? Is it the story of your mom or someone else that's going through? Just breathe for a second. Because it's easy to get lost in the idea. It's easy to get confused by. And so we ask, who's in charge? What is the operating system that is running my programming? Dr. Holmes says, we cannot only embrace ourselves. Somehow our arms must find themselves around the shoulders of all of humanity. We cannot worship a God who belongs to us alone. Only as we enter into a feeling of the essence that diffuses itself everywhere, then at last can we look at each other and say, I worship that which God is as it shows up in and as the form that you are. And when we do that, then we move into the space of what is beloved community? That is our invitation. How do we show up in and as a part of a loving community that embodies the vision of a world that works for all? How do we work together? Bell Hooks says, beloved community is formed not by the eradication of difference, but by its affirmation. By each of us claiming the identities and cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world. And one of the things that immediately stands out in this quote from her for me is the concept of what it means to radically love ourselves just as we are. Our divine differences are exactly that, divine differences. Why did God, in all its infinite grandeur, all that nature is, oranges, tangerines, pears, plums, apricots, cantaloupe, watermelon, grapes, green and red, cherries, strawberry. Why? Why? Because differences matter. The unique ways that God shows up matter. That means the unique ways that God shows up as your skin tone, your hair texture, your eyes, your voice, your way of being matters. Love yourself as that divine expression. That is how we truly worship the divine, by praising what it is as us and recognize our beauty. Breathe. So our school teacher today, Madam Mermaid, reminds us as we close. So my guppies, remember today's 3 key points. Seek clarity to avoid misunderstandings and judgments that are non-life affirming. Surround yourself with loving people in a supportive community, because as S. Kelly Harrell says, we do not heal in isolation, we heal in community. And lastly, radically love yourself. Your ability to love yourself is directly proportionate to your ability to love truly another. Remember the song, I love myself so much, so that I can love you so much, so that you can love you so much, and then you can start loving me. This idea of radically loving ourselves is contagious. And as we love ourselves, we then can love others till they then love themselves. And then it spreads, and then it spreads, and then it spreads. And we wake up and we realize it's a world that works for all. That's what I'm talking about. And so it is.